Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background, and I'm the author of the books Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate, as well as Theta-Waves Meditation. And I'll put links to my books below. This video is the MBTI personality type assessment of Jimmy Kimmel. Most people have heard of the controversy around his show being canceled, and even a lot of people rallying behind him and canceling their Disney subscriptions and things of the sort, and obviously his ongoing feud with Donald Trump. So I thought it would be interesting to know his personality type. When we look at the 16 MBTI personality types, they can be grouped into four main ones. The first ones are sensor judgers, the second sensor perceivers, the third intuitive thinkers, and the last one intuitive feelers. To me, Jimmy Kimmel is a sensor perceiver, and I will explain why. And I have some notes on screen so I don't miss anything. Early life and background. His full name is James Christian Jimmy Kimmel. He was born on November 13, 1967 in New York, USA. He is now 58 years old. He is the eldest of three children, and he was raised Catholic. His family moved to Las Vegas when he was 9 years old, and when it comes to his education, he briefly attended UNLV, so University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and later on Arizona State University, but he left to pursue a radio career. Early career. He started in radio, working in various cities from Las Vegas, Seattle, Tampa, Phoenix, and Tucson. He became known on Los Angeles radio as Jimmy the Sports Guy on KROQ. In 1997, he made his TV debut co-hosting Van Ben Stein's Money on Comedy Central. In 1999, he co-created and co-hosted The Man Show, blending sketch comedy and irreverent humor. He founded Jack Hole Productions, a production company behind shows like Crank Yankers. Breakthrough and late night success. He launched Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC in 2003 and has hosted and produced the show for more than 20 years. He's known for hosting major award shows such as the Oscars multiple times and the Emmys, on-screen appearances and voice work in films and animated features, for example, The Boss Baby. His personal life. He has been married twice, so the first to Gina Maddie, so they're divorced, and he's currently married to Molly McNerney. He has four children, Kathy, Kevin, Jane, and Billy. In terms of advocacy, he publicly spoke about his son Billy's congenital heart condition and supports children's health causes. His net worth, so as of 2025, Jimmy Kimmel's net worth is estimated at about $50 million. His late night show salary is often reported around $15 million US dollars per year. Other income sources including production deals, endorsement, brand partnerships, hosting gigs, and more. Notable traits and reputation. So he combines sharp humor with relatable everyman persona. He maintained relevance in the rapidly changing media landscapes of TV, digital, etc. Over the decades, he's become one of the most enduring and influential late night hosts in American television. If we look at Jimmy Kimmel's life trajectory, it is typical of sensor perceivers. I remember watching one of these shows. He was talking about the fact that he was very much interested in music and performing at an early age, and he was very creative. With his best friend, who he lived across his street, they were involved in all types of mischiefs, and one of them had to do with composing music and being creative together. So you'll see that often sensor perceivers don't like to pursue higher education. So in the case of Jimmy Kimmel, he dropped out of university, and that is common because they tend to often have a short attention span, and if they don't feel that they can move fast and actually see some results, they get impatient. So you'll see that they feel that they can move forward faster in their careers if, let's say, they get hands-on real life experience. Rather earlier on, Jimmy Kimmel was rather successful, so he was involved in radio, TV, comedy, and things. So in other words, he was very much interested in performing, and that's very typical of sensor perceivers. And these professions, when they are successful, they tend to earn quite a bit of good income. So that's why his net worth is about 50 million US dollars. And this money, they tend to reinvest it, let's say, in production. So they sort of like straddle, yes, entertainment, but also the business aspect. So that's why they get like more creative control. And that is the case of Jimmy Kimmel. So in other words, after a while, he started producing his own show. And that's what he's been doing with Jimmy Kimmel Live. And now the other aspect also is that they're the type of people who like to also give back to the community. So you'll see that they'll be involved in charity work, and we'll get back to that later on in terms of determining his personality type. So in terms of what he was interested in, his career trajectory, the fact that he didn't want to pursue higher education, this is very typical of people who are sensor perceivers. Now, the other aspect we want to determine is whether Jimmy Kimmel is a feeler or a thinker. In other words, is he more right brain dominant and empathetic compared to being left brain dominant and being more logical? I would lean more him being a feeler. He comes across as approachable, empathic, like his humor is never cruel or mean. And even when you see him interact with his children, because there are some clips, that you see him like, teasing his children and making all types of like, fun activities and things of the sort. There's a warmth to it, and his children seem to be really comfortable with him. So he's someone who's more soft-hearted. I remember when he was talking about the fact that his son had to have like open heart surgery, and he was crying. And another example that points that Jimmy Kimmel is most likely a feeler is that when his childhood friend recently passed away, he made this really moving tribute to him, and he was really choked up, and you can tell he was actually crying. And his friend was the music band leader on his show, Jimmy Kimmel, and you can tell that there was a real emotion there. You rarely see people who are left brain dominant, showing emotion like that, and he will do that I've seen it like at least a couple of times when Donald Trump won the election, and how it would affect people, and even in terms of recently, because of the fact that people unable to afford groceries because of all the political turmoil is happening in the United States, he is actually promoting the collection of food, so to distribute people who are in financial hardship. So all this points to someone who is more soft-hearted, and so in other words, I would say that he's most likely a feeler versus a thinker. So he's a people-oriented versus being object-oriented. The other point is whether or not Jimmy Kimmel is an extrovert or introvert. I would lean more him being an extrovert. He seems very comfortable being the center of attention, and even like someone who can host the Oscars or the Emmys. I mean, you have like the world watching you, and usually it's people who are extroverted, who can handle this type of pressure, and he seems very comfortable. Like, I've rarely seen him very nervous, and he seems to be even more at ease when there's a bigger audience. So again, he probably is someone who feels energized by being around other people, and you'll see that he's very much family oriented. He likes to have friends and family around, even like he brings them to his show. There's a lot of like I find a real sense of community in his life. So for all this to say, I would say that he's most likely an extrovert. So based on this analysis, I believe that Jimmy Kimmel is most likely an ESFP, or the entertainer. So let me know what you think about this MBTI personality type assessment by commenting below. If you like this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button. Also remember to click on the notification bell to be notified of other videos I'm going to be making. Subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.